Sharon, no matter where you're at in your story or in your journey right now, no matter how messy it looks, when you're willing to stand in your power, when you're willing to be exactly where you are in your journey, and you're willing to allow your journey to unfold in front of you, and you're willing to share with those that are one chapter behind, I believe that that's a way that anyone listening can tap into purpose.
We're on this earth because we're supposed to intermingle with each other. I do truly believe that. I've always believed that. I've always been in sales, and some sort of human interaction has always been a part of my life. And as my spiritual journey has developed, I truly have believed that God speaks to us through.
I love that. It's powerful.
He speaks to me through you. You've changed me in ways you'll never live away. You do know. I think you do. You've seen it develop. You've seen it grow. I've seen the growth in you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, there's no other way. Just for example, Michael being there, knocking on my door at 10 o'clock in the morning after 11 hours of laying there basically dead. There's no other answer. Secondly, this journey, I think a lot of us, that might be in that dark place of depression, anxiety, loneliness. You don't think there's anybody there to help you, and you're afraid to call 988, or you're afraid to call the 800 number that is below here. Please look at those numbers. If you need help or know anybody that needs it, please give those a call. But I was in the ER. Here's another thing too. I don't want to harp on ex-wife. She's no longer in my life. But I remember being wheeled out to the ambulance, and I had my cell phone. And so they got me to the hospital and everything else. I still have my cell phone with me. And I thought maybe I'd give one last ditch little effort to see if there was this inkling of care on her end. And today, that thing happened. I'm at the hospital. No response. So I just really knew at that moment, that was that specific moment that I stopped reaching out, stopped trying, stopped thinking that it might work. Because it's over, right? And so it was that moment of, I stayed at the hospital on in a gurney with the light, so crying, I'm so tired. I get to the hospital where they check you in. I went to TriStar. They couldn't get me in to Rolling Hills. They couldn't get me into anywhere closer. So they just sent me all the way to Madison. And there was another gentleman that came in there, a black gentleman, awesome afro. And he had that look on his face like I did. And I'm trying to do my thing to get registered and all of it. I look over at him, like, you doing all right? And he's been better. His name was Osorio, and he's going to be on this podcast at some point and tell his story. Here you got an executive with a very big company. You would think from the outside looking in, man, he's got it all made. He travels all over the world. He's got a beautiful wife. And here he is, same spot I am. So he's same age. If it wasn't for Osorio, who goes by O, peace out to you, my friend. If it wasn't for the both of us being there, we kept each other sane.
Yeah.
Yeah. That part of the journey and being there with O was a part of the journey that I needed to experience. I needed to be separated from the craziness of society, the craziness of life, and hustle and bustle and all the white noise, because the only thing I could focus on was the destruction of myself. For what purpose? And so when I had that clarity and I had that time to think about it, I just realized, then I got to that level of how stupid it was. But you can't get there yet. You have to process yourself there.
Well, and thank you. And you're sharing. And again, I just want to highlight that and empower that, because that's incredible. And for everyone listening, if you're in that spot, share. Also for everyone listening, and then also for Patrick's neurology, it's not stupid of you. That's where you were in that moment. All the chapters we live in life, that was that chapter. You lived it. It now has purpose that you get to share with others.
Makes a lot of sense. I don't know if that's soothing or helps. It's just a fact, and it is part of the chapter. Sometimes I need to listen to my own self. And I did a podcast, one of, of victory. So I shared this with you at lunch. This story of me surviving suicide and going through the process of healing and loss and all of that stuff is just a sad story if a year from now I'm not victorious and I'm not helping other people the way I want to. Meaning you could be sitting here and one of two things could be said. Dang, he was a good dude. Or look at him overcoming this adventure. Look what he's doing now. Look at him helping other people. Look at his, this and that. I'm so proud of him. Look what he's been able to do and overcoming it.
I can just see it now. I mean, I can hear it. I can see it. I can feel it. Imagine your journey of healing, whatever that thing is. And I mean, I don't know what your journey is going to be with alcohol, but I'm going to put a projection out there. Let's say you're completely, pardon me, everyone at Belch there. You're completely sober, right? And then in a year from now, and people are like, you're sharing your story. You're like, look where I was at. And being able to tell people like, hey, the alcohol wasn't the problem. I had this problem. Now, for those of you that struggle with alcohol, however you need to look at it right now to quantify it, I want you to do that. Don't let me to take you off track. What I'm suggesting to you is that there's something to heal. There's a reason why you go to alcohol. All humans don't have a need or desire to go to alcohol. And I speak from a place that I've shared before. I've been court ordered to 30-day inpatient alcohol rehab in the past. So I've been a human that used alcohol as an outlet in the past. I say that to say I can already see you in a year from now.
It's alcohol has been one of those interesting issues that's always been a part of my life as far as I can remember. I remember going to the hospital and doing that little questionnaire. When was the first time I had a drink? Like probably 16 years old. But it never was really a problem until maybe about 10 years ago, where it felt like it was kind of a more consistent.
But remember, I'm sorry to cut into you, but actually it never was a problem. It became more of a solution when the problem became bigger. A couple years more. When alcohol showed more, well, it's just the way it is. Just the way it is. Yeah. So when alcohol showed up more, you were dealing with the problem more because the alcohol was the solution for the problem. So 100%. So the problem was being manifested more. Now, why we'd have to, obviously if we were going to, we'd have to dive in deeper for each person, but that's the journey though.
That is the journey.
If I could say it, if I could sum it up in one sentence, I promise I'd share it, but that's the journey though. Go ahead.
No, it's like, listen, I love life. I don't need to have it. And I think a lot of this stuff, what happened to me with this and all of it is a moment of clarity. I mean, I don't know how to describe it any more than, and there's a lot of information. It's like drinking water from a fire hydrant right now. There's just a lot of great information coming my way, a good clarity coming my way. Try to process it all so I can, be all I can be for myself and all those everybody else out there that's listening to this. And again, you guys, there's those numbers on the screen, 988 on your phone, or you can call 800-273-8255. Feel like you need someone to talk to, reach out to a friend. If anybody else out there thinks of anybody that needs someone to talk to, call those numbers. I get them some help. They're not in trouble. And it's just to talk to.
And as soon as you decide to, I don't know how heavy it is for you right now. I don't know. For the people that are struggling right now. I don't know. I'm not carrying the burden that you're carrying right now. So I can't understand. As soon as you decide to take responsibility and control of your journey, much like you have, Patrick, as soon as you decide to reach out for help, be responsible to get help. So you might feel very alone. You might feel very, very alone. And this might sound heavy. And I'm sharing it with you. Love. When you feel very alone, allow yourself to be responsible and reach out for help. One thing you can do that's going to help you incredibly, Patrick, everyone, immediately envision yourself telling your story. Envision yourself in the future telling your story. reach out for help, and be transparent. Allow yourself to receive the help that you need at that moment, and allow yourself to begin right now sharing back with those one chapter behind you. Because suffering ceases to be suffering the moment it finds meaning. I care about you. I love you. I want you here. Patrick, that's you.
Yes.
Because everyone listen.
I tell you, the journey at the hospital, we all, when we get into that mode, we think, oh my God, my life couldn't get worse. I mean, serious. I lost my wife, my home, I lost my neighborhood, I lost 3 dogs, everything. How could it get any worse than this? How could it get worse, right? Well, I'm sitting up there for 5 days, I guess. There, Saturdays, Monday, out to 5 days in mental hospital. But in there, the journey is amazing because he put people in front of me that made me realize your life is bad.
Could you? Yeah, that's
You
great.
got
That's powerful.
you got a guy in there that knows the system, and all he has to do is go to an ER and say he's worried about himself, and he gets 5 days with 3 square meals. He's in and out of the system all the time. Then they kick him out. He goes to another ER room. So and then you got career people that are just like mentally never going to get better. And I'm sitting there, and me and Al, we're just at each other like, what's wrong? I mean, not wrong with us, meaning like, are you serious, Patrick? Here's one thing about depression and one thing about anxiety, loneliness, and suicidal thoughts. It knows no boundaries. It's not prejudiced. It doesn't matter how old you are. It will get you. So all of you out there that think, oh, I don't have these problems or anything. Let me tell you, there is a chance it will get you. It got me. It manifested itself way beyond it needed to be. But I was so caught up in the loss that I felt like that was my only answer. And you realize how selfish it was because it affected so many more people. So many more people. People at my job, people that I shared my space, people that I cut their hair. So you do a lot more to yourself than you think. So what was the purpose? Get my wife back. No, she left. She's gone. She's done. It's over. So I'm still alive, being able to share this with you so that I can help you understand those numbers on the screen. Don't take them lightly. 988-800-273-8255. Don't take it lightly. And it's not just for you, but if you know somebody else. And it's interesting because all of the people that were in that hospital with me, they all thought about it. They all talked about it. So here's an interesting question for you. As far as the system itself, it's an insurance business. It's a money-making business, mental health. Insurance companies are only going to pay for so many days of your stay at the hospital. So you've got, I think they keep you maximum 5 days, insurance cuts you off. That's how accurate that is, but that's what I was told. But here you are, you've got a guy like, or some talked about it. He didn't do anything. He just said, do this to myself. Then you've got me who actually did it. And I was talking to the doctor. He was like, hey, one thing to talk about, but it's another thing to actually do it. You're a pretty unique case. I'm always trying to be, yes. But here you got two guys, one just talking about one, actually, but both of us left at the same time. Because why? Insurance. That's my best guess. And that's what I was told. It's interesting, the system itself. So it's one of those things where you have to actually have the determination to make yourself better, to get past the situation. I always thought I had my head on straight, and I do have my head on straight for the most part. But when you go through something so traumatic and traumatic is what I experienced with my in the aftermath and afterfall, and what has happened in such a very fast-paced time frame, like month, not even a month old. And all of this has transpired. All of the things that I'm telling you about as far as the shock and the awe and the last podcast of me talking about what had happened and the turmoil and the craziness response from her family, which blew my mind. And then it literally, it seemed like more like 8 weeks. But I looked at the calendar and I'm like, you know what? This is still fresh. You know, a lot of unnecessary things happen, but I think they were necessary in the fact that I'm still here and I'm able to share my experience. And for all of you guys out there, guys and gals that are going through any kind of similar situation, my door is always open. And you can even message me here on YouTube. You can message me on my Facebook. You can message me Instagram. You can message me, call me, message me, text me. I'm happy to talk to you. I am not a professional. Let me get this clear. Let me do this disclaimer. I am not a professional. I am not a licensed counselor. I am not a licensed psychologist. I am a man who survived suicide. I'm a man sharing my experience. And it's been a traumatic experience. I've got scars to prove it. And I've got a raspy voice to wrap it all up. Scar and a raspy voice. Always wanted a raspy voice. Hearing that and me actually talking about this actually is this point of clarity, because I'm writing a book, and the book is going to be called exactly what this podcast is called. It's going to be called Surviving Suicide and All the Crap in Between. And all the crap in between is the stuff and the lies and the bullshit that we all put ourselves through on a yearly basis, you know, daily basis, relationships that are going nowhere, a job that's going nowhere, friendships that don't trust, whatever the case may be. Actually, I think I'll finish this weekend and hopefully get it out to publication soon. But it's about surviving and living a true life. And that's, I guess, what really bothered me the most out of this relationship with my wife, because I was so transparent, for at least I was. I was never more honest in a relationship ever. In all the relationships I had, that I felt some sort of peace at that, because I was able to, hey man, this is it. She knew about the name. She knew about the first marriage. She knew about all the different things that were just crap. And our relationship didn't start off perfect, but got there. It got really well. Good. You know, I mean, I had still some blemishes and some things I needed to take care of, but it was one that really just adored her. And then that's why the loss hurt so much. Let's get back on track. Greg is back. I just wanted to share a little bit about that. Greg, what I was telling them about is I'm writing this book. And the book is basically called exactly what this podcast is. It's like Surviving Suicide and all, or crap in between. And the crap in between is really this that we deal with on a daily basis, whether it's a job or relationship, or whatever the case may be. And surviving those days and surviving those moments on an individual basis. But doing it with the right, because but so it's no wonder some things in your life are going to fall apart, because you're not set on a solid foundation. You know, it's just, I don't know. I'm off on a massive tangent right now.
No, I mean, there's all power. Forgive me. There's all power in that. And, you know, now because you are aware of that, you're going on a journey right now, leaning all out of camera, because you're aware of that. You're going on a journey right now, right now, where you're building a pure foundation. I don't, has the foundation ever been as pure as it is today?
Nope. I was just hearing that the relationship with my most recent one was the most pure foundation of a relationship I've ever had. I mean, because I wanted to come straight out from the get-go and tell her about me, tell her about my previous time in jail, tell her about my name change, tell her about, my first, and so I feel that on that level, it was the most pure relationship I could possibly have.
Yeah.
But
now you have the most pure relationship with yourself that you've ever had. And because of that, all the relationships you're going to have moving forward are going to be they're going to be so pure. You've never had relationships as pure before. It's going to be the coolest thing ever.
You're right. You know, and it's because we get caught up, and I don't want to demise this. I do not want to dismiss my love for her, or I would still do anything today to get the relationship back. I would walk across hot coals, and would, do whatever I can with her family to, whatever I got to do to make up for it, whatever I got to do. But I'm okay if it doesn't. And this is the first time for me able to say that. I don't want it to be that way, but I'm okay. It's God made 7.3 billion. You made, apparently when I listened to your speech yesterday, God made 700 more people. 700 more billion.
Yes, he's 700. Yeah. Yeah, I used to, the number I did, someone actually, a friend of mine,
8 billion now, then Chinese are busy.
a friend of mine said, hey, it's 8 billion. And I was like, what? I'm like, no, I've researched this. I've been saying this for a while. And I hop on Google and sure enough, it was like 8.1 or something. Wow, what just happened?
Oh, you know what? I've been listening to those dang GC books and they're like 10 years old and it was 7.3 back then.
Yeah. We had COVID and everyone was home with each other for a little while. So we
had a billion people out here, so I mean, it's a great analogy. There's 8 billion people in this world. There's another, and that's an interesting part of my book, about the yearning to be like my father, but not be like my father, if that even makes sense.
You gotta make sure you get to at least 7.
Oh, geez. Seriously, it's like, okay, I understand the first one. That's a mulligan. I get right. Everyone would die. Everybody's a mulligan. And, but the second one,
you didn't get to see my physiology, but you heard me. I was like, yeah, generally speaking, I'm a human. Okay. I got things to work on. I'm still on a journey. I'm generally speaking, super compassionate for like the worst person. Like sounds like your dad's made some mistakes. I don't even know him. And like, I immediately, I'm like, oh, cause like he's going through something.
Yeah. Well, God bless his soul. He's dead.
Okay.
That's one of the things I just never did want to be like. And you know what? I felt like there was some redemption, but there were some things missing still. And I think they just took their toll. I don't want to talk about relationship. This is not a relationship podcast. This is a survival of what I've been through and sharing with others and the people that are a chapter behind me. So the chapter where I'm at right now is healing, acceptance. I feel good. I feel like I've gotten past the worst part of darkness. And, and I told you this earlier, I'm tired of hurting myself. I'm tired of punishing myself physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm past the pain, past the hurt, past the guilt. Man, I don't understand how I could possibly put any more guilt or pressure or hurt on myself. And because the biggest thing right now, I'm going to tell you already know this. The hardest thing we can do as humans is forgive ourselves.
I was about to ask you, are you willing to, and listen to the question. So this question can be for everyone else as well. Forgive me. Look at her point at you guys. Forgive me. So I was going to ask you a question, and everyone out there, this question can be for you as well. But listen to the question carefully. Are you willing to forgive yourself? I didn't say, have you forgave yourself or have you forgiven yourself? Forgave. I'm not sure if that's proper. I'm not sure. I didn't ask if you have forgiven yourself. I said, are you willing to forgive yourself? The reason why I asked the question like that for you, Patrick, and for everyone listening is because, well, just for those that are human, if you forgive yourself right now, just a little bit, we're going to make mistakes. Just a little bit. Are you willing to forgive yourself?
Yes, I have. I have forgiven myself, and I am willing to forgive myself. And that's been the hardest one for me because here's the thing. Jesus, the Almighty God, Holy Spirit, everything. He's already forgiven me. So why can't I forgive myself? What is it about us as a human, as me as God's child? What is it about me that I can't forgive myself? The situation is the situation, and that chapter of it is over. What happened is over. That's a chapter in our life, and it's over. I can't change the chapter. I can't rewrite the chapter. I can't do anything else. The only chapter I can write before it's written
right now, the next one. Yep.
So how do I make that next chapter? So,
and what do you want it to be? And I don't know about like it, but a little bit rhetorical, but you can, of course, share if you want. But for everyone listening, what do you want that next chapter to be? And even if you said, no, I know what I want the next chapter to be. Good. If you do know, then what are the steps that need to be taken to get there? And then do you know what the next chapter is? We get to pick it all the time. You just said it. You said, what I do get control of is the next chapter. In order for you to put the pen to paper and to start writing the letters that tell the story, you have to decide what's the story going to be for everybody, for me. Allow yourself, there's so much power in just allowing yourself. Actually, so at lunch we talked about, and I'll share with that, like, I learned this through discovery. So I didn't read this on a book or I didn't study this. I just learned it through discovery. One of the most powerful pieces that helped me step into my power, learn who I am, have my confidence, be congruent, be transparent, was being comfortable with not knowing. There's so much power in that. So for example, like, what is the next chapter? Because we're so afraid to say, I don't know. We grab something and we're like, oh, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I know what it is. I know. But that's not it. We just grab for anything. Like, there's so much power in saying, what's your next chapter? And you're saying, I don't know. I can find out. I can explore. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I love it. I think that's what's so exciting about this journey that I'm on, is because all I do know is I get to control it. I get to choose the destiny of that chapter and how I develop from this. And so what does it look like for me? And this is one of the things that you told me many, many years ago. God, in the years of flown by. When you've got something in your mind, what does it look like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? You know, I mean, or what does it tangibly look like? And what can you see it? So that next step of the journey is my continued healing, my continued understanding, and my continued forgiveness of not just, because the whole scenario is, I think that was the hardest part to get past, because everybody out there wanted to blame it all. I'm not point fingers that other people are responsible for anything that I did. I've always been one that I've always accepted my responsibilities, but what I'm trying to say, that's my next part of the journey.
Well, and I want to dive in for anyone that, right, who am I to judge you? But I'm Greg Pease, in case you guys have known.
Greg Pease.
Okay.
Greg Pease.
Greg Pease. All right. No. So, for the people that, well, for you, this is for you and those that blamed will hear it. You have a journey of responsibility. You have a journey. Okay. All those things, right? The thing is, the realization is, wherever you're at, what is blame going to do? Nothing. And then for self, when you're receiving it, you don't have to receive it.
What is it? A temporary feel good?
And so to think you don't have to receive it. And when we're called to make sure someone, like, when I'm doing a good job. So like we practice, like me and my wife, we practice that once we figure out something that didn't work, like we actively do our best we're good at failing, but we actively do our best to not assign the blame, because it has no value. Only in the fact of we do assign responsibility. We do determine how do we create change, but saying this is your fault or you shouldn't have done that just doesn't add value. It may still also be a truthful statement. I didn't say it was an untruthful statement, possibly, but if it doesn't add value, and I believe things either add value or subtract value, nothing's totally neutral. And if that's not adding value, it must be subtracted value.
I want to clarify some things from yesterday. I did two little quick videos on Facebook yesterday, and I want to explain what the first one was: gratitude for being alive. And you invited me to the real estate thing yesterday at
Miller's
House, and it was awesome. Yeah. So when you go through something that I just went through, and in your mind you become isolated and you feel like you could be in public or whatever. I know it's a weird phenomenon that your mind grasps. But I got up like any other day. I dressed like I normally do, and I went out, and it was phenomenal, because you get it in your head that people are looking at you and they know.
Right.
Like, nobody knew.
Right.
Nobody knows what I've gone through. And so it's just this ridiculous thing that So I put out this thing of gratitude, and then I put out one a little bit more harsh, and I'll explain that. Because one of the things I think that keeps us from admitting maybe, or wanting help, or seeking it, or talking about it, is that we're worried about people's reaction. Mm-hmm. So when I put out that post yesterday, I was smiling. I was in a great mood, and the reaction I got from a lot of people was not so friendly. It was like, why are you so happy? How could you be so happy after you did that? And, look what you did, like, why? So, and then there's that element of people that want to label you as some sort of monster or some sort of something's wrong with you. So I understand why some people don't want to come forward,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Right.
mhm.
Or want to talk about it because, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm in trouble and like that. So I wanted to share it because I wanted to impress upon everybody out there. Remember, there's numbers down here, 988 and 800-273-8255. Call if you know somebody, or if it's you, if you just want to talk to somebody. But I'm telling you, don't worry about those things because that's just human nature. And it's almost a sad part of human nature.
Yeah, yeah. That's a way to, that's a good way to, I like how you put that. You said it's almost a sad part of you. There's some, we're creatures. Like some of the parts of, some of the parts of this experience of life are sad. Some of them are hard. Some of them are fun. It's crazy.
I shared this.
Package.
It was interesting. I shared, no, you got to get going, bro. Don't you?
I'm getting close to myself. Yeah. We're all good.
No, and I was talking to some of the people at the hospital about this in my podcast, and even some of the doctors and the therapists loved it and loved it. But they
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that I was disclosing phone numbers and stuff. Yeah, make sure people that type of stuff. But I really would like, hopefully, that you and I could come back and talk about the next chapter I'm going through and see how far I've developed of this. And not only that, I'd love to be able to reach out, and maybe take some phone calls here soon. Whatever this thing might be able to develop into something.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you see it as developing into, or what could it go into?
Well, but keep it. I'm going to make a suggestion. Keep in mind, I will answer that. Here's how I will answer that. Let me get towards energy versus away from. I see it going exactly the way you see it going. Okay. Allow yourself. What I see it going as is I see this being a way. I see your courage and transparency to share your story being a large impact to help people that don't have the courage, because when people go through these situations, generally speaking, a lot of times they don't have that courage. Because you have that courage, it's going to be something that's going to be able to serve people. Now, what is it specifically? You'll continue to share, I believe. I think the biggest part of the value is, as right now, you're like, what is that next part of it? Not sure. Cool. Guess what? Comfortability in the unknown, right? Hey, I'm not sure what that chapter is. As you gain clarity, that's what we're going to share. Because then you're going to know. Right now, some parts are unknown. And as you gain clarity, that's what we're going to share. What do I see that being? I see whatever you share. I don't know what it is you're going to share. I don't know what clarities you're going to gain. And then whatever those are, I see this being a outlet for people to be able to receive raw and transparent information.
Right. And there's so many different directions that we can take this. I mean, there's depression, there's anxiety, there's loneliness, there's all types of walks of life that we can talk about. And one of the things that I would love to dive into, and I think, which is a huge thing, and I found a statistic just the other day. Do you realize that depression and anxiety hit an all-time high? Just take a wild guess when it started reaching all-time highs. When it started.
Okay.
To go like that.
Well, I mean, my thought goes, of course, COVID, but it might've been something before that, but a thought goes to COVID timeframe.
2010, the start of Facebook.
Okay. Facebook. Yeah.
The start of Facebook was the largest increase in suicides, anxiety, and depression cases because it was so much more prevalent and shown. And then you've got the element of keeping up with the Joneses, like that model, looking like that guy, all those different things. And then people finding their identity in something that doesn't even exist. That's fake.
Yeah.
And then I would like to take it one step further. And I had been subject to it. I don't think it was as much this go around as it could. We could dive in there. It's finding your identity in something else and meaning that, if you're white, who I am. Right. But
Right.
I think that's accurate. Look at you.
No, I'm with you though.
People find their identity in something else. And when that's lost, they have nowhere to go, nowhere to fall back on, because they're like, who am I? I'm nothing without her or him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, the levels of, depression and all of that and surround me. And I never really knew that much about it until my marriage. And because her whole family has issues with depression, anxiety, and how easy it can happen because, you think this guy's got it all together, but man, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So you never know what people are dealing with. We've got a lot to unpack, guys. We got a lot of episodes coming our way. Greg's always going to be around. I'm very thankful for him. He's a wealth of knowledge. We've seen each other grow in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot more growth ahead of us. So blessed that you're here. And you want to leave anything for everybody out there?
I appreciate being here with you and getting to share with you and getting to unpack this with you and being on the journey with you. And everyone out there, I appreciate you guys being part of the journey with us. And if you're struggling, make sure you're reaching out for help. And one of the biggest things I'm going to suggest to you guys, we already talked about it, be comfortable not knowing and allow yourself to go on the journey so that you can know. Be great. It's already in you.
And I'm going to leave it at this, guys. I am not perfect and never said I was, but I have been on a journey that a lot of people haven't and a lot of people have. I'm very fortunate to have survived a very traumatic event, and I want to share it in every aspect that I can so I can help others and have to suffer my fate. So, guys, the numbers here are 988 on your phone. It's that simple if you want to talk to somebody, or 800-273-8255. And on behalf of myself and Greg Pease, gregpease.com, reach out to this guy, talk to him. He's amazing. Peace, guys. Thank you.